RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. What's happening, everybody? This is Tara Devlin. Hope the sound is okay. Yes. Looking good. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat. First in the queue. Hopefully, others will join you shortly. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm not alone. We're here. We're in this together. I wasn't sure what this week was going to be like, but a lot of people aren't doing shows, so I'm going to do a show. I'll do a show anyway. We're going to be here We're going to be here Friday, too. I know Christmas Eve is Saturday, so it's the day before. Wait, where's this? This camera's looking very something or other. And there's Richard. Now we have a show. Thank you, Richard, for your super chat. So it's not just me and Jim in there. All right. If you're on any other channel and you want to hang out with the greatest chat room in American history, or with the greatest people in American history in the greatest chat room, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster, because you'll just get to meet everybody and it's fun. And I don't know, that's it. It's fun, and these are great people, so I don't know what you're waiting for. Let me just do a couple of plugs. If you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/Taradevil, and that'll help keep the show going and growing. And more important, well, they're both important. Two sides of the same coin, going and growing. So, what the hell is that on the bottom of the screen there? It's asking me, do I want to launch Paramount? No, I must have hit the wrong button. So, let's see. We're on Rokfin. This is another place you can go and get some political commentary and other shows from all perspectives. And of course, we are proudly being hosted on APS Radio News. That is another. It's not a particularly liberal or conservative. It is a independent media outlet. So if you can support APS Radio News, remember that we need to support the independent media. So I say please do. APS Radio News, and tell Charlie that Tara sent you over there when you show up, so he doesn't slam the door in your face. No, he's nice. He's not like me. I sometimes you don't know what, if I'm in a mood or not. So Charlie is just a nice person, trying to make the world a better place. So isn't that really what we're all trying to do? I hope. Not all. Some are not trying to make the world a better place. And, let me see. Where do I begin? Let's just get into it, and then wherever the whims take us. You know how I am. I am a little bit, it's a Tarabuster. That's why they call it Tarabuster. I go all over the place. So we'll talk about what I want to talk about tonight. Of course, Trump's taxes. We'll talk about that. And I also wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact that Elon Musk is a fraud. Last show, after we were discussing Elon Musk's destruction of Twitter, and it came up. I didn't know where he got his money from. I was never up on Elon Musk, and I knew, it would always get under my skin when people like Joe Scarborough would call him a genius, because I don't see how somebody like that's a genius. I mean, he's obviously an overgrown. Well, he's a man-child. Could you imagine somebody like Stephen Hawking's or Einstein behaving like that? Could you imagine somebody like Einstein, like actual geniuses, buying a social media platform because they want to impress their incel right-wing incel fanboys, right? They want to. That's what he's trying to do, and because he's got a thin skin and needs to shove his apartheid-inspired right-wing, well, fascist views down the throats of Earth, because that's what he's doing. Nobody likes, well, not nobody, some. There's the 37%, the authoritarian followers. They like what he's doing. But that's the 37% that have always been with us in humanity. Destroyed, that nip at our heels as we evolve. They're the ones that try to sabotage our evolution. So they've always been with us. It's not that we have an overall abundance of morons in this country. It's just that they have a large platform at this point. But so after we got off the air on Friday, I just started researching where did he get his money. And you won't be surprised that he's a fraud. He's a marketer. He's done really well at marketing, and I found some interesting articles and whatnot written by people who actually know what they're doing and saying. So he sounds, if you don't speak the language of astrophysics or whatnot. I don't. You don't know what he's saying. It may sound impressive, but for those who are actually in the field, who are, let's say, rocket scientists or astrophysicists, it's clear to them that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He picks shit up, and he'll regurgitate it, but he's not a genius. He's a very good marketer, and he's been sued for it. He's been sued for trying to take other people's names off of patents that he didn't develop, but he bought into. So it makes perfect sense that he's a billionaire that we all have to, not against our will, deal with. A fraud. He is the perfect symbol of the time that we live in, where we have to deal with these selfish, narcissistic man babies, the rapacious greed of man babies. And when does it end? That's what I want to know. When will we, as a civilization, as a species, say enough? It's not in the best interest of humanity to make these people our leaders, to put them in positions of authority over the many. No. Enough is enough. When I think about, let's say, FDR, for example, FDR had his brain trust, it was known as. These were thinkers, intellectuals, experts in their field. They weren't loyalists, and they weren't necessarily rich. They were, professors, philosophers, people who looked at the world and the goal was to make it a better place for the many, for all of us who have to live here, have to share this blip of time together. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick. I'm up to the gills with these filthy fascist billionaires. I really am. And the last show that we had, we were discussing how, the title was Elon Musk is living proof that there should be no billionaires. Wait, hold on. For today's, there's another article. I just have to save this. Hold on. Keep talking amongst yourself in the chat room. All right, good. I'm back. Oh, hi, Haiku. Nice to see you. Haiku. All right, let me see. Let me get this article. Let's start there. There's many things. We'll talk about Zelensky. Zelensky gave a speech to Congress tonight. Not many foreign leaders have done this. Famously, Winston Churchill, at a time when similarly right-wingers were trying to dissuade America from standing up against the fascist threat in Europe. Aren't they always on the wrong side of history? This is the thing. I always wonder, when do Republicans, do they ever get tired? Right-wingers, let's say, conservatives, because they'll say, well, Republicans freed the slave. No, it was progressives. They happened to be known as Republicans at the time. Progressives were the abolitionists. It wasn't Republicans. And if that's the case, if that's all that matters is the name. That's what I can't take with these Republicans. They have their I don't know what it is with their brains. They're such geniuses, right? Elon Musk, he's such a genius. They just can't see the nuances, the shades of gray. Well, much less the colors of the rainbow. They see that, it's named Republican. So why don't I call some dog poo in an ice cream cone? I'll just call it chocolate, double mint chocolate, and then you take a lick and see. Hey, it's cool. Hey, it's ice cream. It doesn't matter what's in it. It just matters what it. It doesn't matter what it actually is. Just call it what it. Yeah, just call it something pleasing to your senses, and then you just lick it, lick that shit, right? I don't know. Isn't that what they do when they say Republicans were the abolitionist party in 1865? Well, it's if you have to go back to over 100 years to when the Republicans were actually on the right side of history. Well, where the hell have you been for the last century plus? You've been, and that why do, if that's the case, if the Republicans are such great equalizers, then why is it that 90% of darker pigment people vote not Republican? Well, we know the Republicans say it's because the Democrat offers free stuff to darker pigment people. And of course, they don't realize that when they say that, it's that in itself is a race. It just betrays their racism. It's an update of the old racist trope that darker pigment people need, to be. They need to be taught. It's good that they need to be taught the dignity of work. That's why slavery was good, because otherwise they would just be laying around in a social safety net hammock. That was the thinking. But don't you see, it's their excuse for why most people who have darker pigment are not Republicans. Instead of looking at themselves, they really need to look themselves in the mirror and say, why is it that we are so reviled by anyone who isn't a straight white male and a straight white male patriarchy admirer? They won't look at themselves because it's the whole, it's part of infantilism too, to blame. It's also narcissism. I mean, I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole, but it is kind of psychoanalyzing them. we would. It's like a night. It's like a surrealistic nightmare when you take a trip down into the typical Republican psyche. You're taking your own sanity, and you're risking your own sanity is what I'm trying to say. Where is this damn article that I'm looking at? Oh yeah, so Zelensky fought. Fought. I'm just looking at something that says something fought something. Zelensky spoke to the Congress tonight, and of course, reports came in that perjury trader Greene and Lauren banned from the bowling alley Boebert and Matt the sexual predator. Well, I don't know if he's a sexual predator. I guess he was. They declined to prosecute, but he did pay underage girls bucks through Venmo for things like tuition. Yeah. So who knows? And of course, his pal said that he witnessed with his own beautiful eyes Matt Getz performing sex acts on underage girls, because that's what he does. That's what you do when you're a Republican congressman. Because you're not in Congress to make the world a better place. You're in there to bang chicks, right? If they're underage, oh well. That just means you got it going on, right? Right? What's his name? The Georgia guy? Whose name escapes me. Herschel Walker? Yeah. All right. Where is this? Here we go. Oh, yeah, here it is. Found it. I just want to talk about, I don't know. I thought this was interesting. Maybe I've been talking about Elon Musk too much, only because he really irritates me. Probably I'm just working it out and processing, having to live in the same blip of time with so many useless, worthless billionaires, really. So there's a website called Got Musked. GOTMUSKED.com. And it's all about what a fraud Elon Musk is. So, and then it has a lot of links and things to back it up. So what experts think of Elon? Elon Musk is a charlatan, not a genius, and possesses no genius or expertise outside of marketing. Sales, and pushing propaganda. Who does this sound like, by the way? It's the same thing. It's the Trump. They are all levels of Trump, and the more I learned about Elon Musk, the more I saw the similarities between Trump and Musk. I don't know what it is. What is it with right wingers and their eagerness to be the willing dupes of con men? They really do, and it actually proves what I say correct about they are conservatism is a fundamentally undemocratic ideology, and it attracts fundamentally undemocratic people who would, and whether they wrap it in the flag and wave their flags and say USA, USA, USA is beside the point. They lack the fundamental maturity to function in a free democratic society, especially one that is diverse and filled with all different people from all over the world, different persuasions, different sexual orientations, and they just can't handle rugged individualism. And it's tragic. And actually today because I had to take Francis to the vet today. This is a whole other story. He's all right. He was throwing up, but I had to take him to the vet. And I thought he was sick. Thankfully, he got a good report. They don't know what's wrong with him. He was throwing up for like a week. So anyway, he's, he does have some issues, nothing deadly, but so I took him out to North Shore Animal League, and I was in the car. It's like a 45-minute drive, so, and then I was stuck in traffic for 3 hours. So anyway, I was listening to a lot of podcasts. Let's put it that way. And I was listening to this podcast about. It's very sad. It was a story about a Jehovah's Witness, and from a podcast. So I'm trying to find the name so I can give it an attribution. It's called. Let me see. Something about what if this happened, or this really happened? Is that what it's called? Or this is actually happening. That's the name of the podcast. And this particular episode was about a young man who was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm sure you could see where this is going. And he's gay. He's born gay. And in Jehovah's Witness, that's, the biggest sin you can be. And he's growing up. His mother and father are big wigs in the Jehovah's Witness cult. And I mean, it's just it's a horror show. What they did to this young man, the self-loathing they inflicted on this person, where they publicly shamed him, and eventually, when he refused to go in the closet, he refused to not speak his own truth. Basically, they disowned him. And it's part of the religion. So you either atone for being a gay, or for being who you are, right? Or you're effectively dead to everyone in your family, to everyone that you've ever known. And I can't even imagine. So they kicked this kid out on his 18th birthday, when he officially became an adult. 2 days after he graduated, he was required to leave his home and go fend for himself, and without any skills, without ever having lived in the real world at all. And he ended up homeless. He was, of course, started to abuse drugs, tried to commit suicide numerous times. This is all because of the programming of, you're dead to us, you're nothing, you are, because you're gay. This is how supposedly people who are doing things in the name of saving you, so in the name of kindness, they're inflicting unmeasurable levels of cruelty on people they pretend to love, that they brought into this world, and they just abandon them because it doesn't fit into their perception of this ancient book of fables. I mean, if there's nothing more fucked up than that, I'm sure there are things. There are many fucked up things in this world, but that is certainly one of it. And that's one of the reasons, religion is many religions. If that's not a life-affirming ideology, and we're all supposed to show respect for that fucking bullshit, it's cruel. It's inhumane. There's nothing godlike in it. So, but the point of bringing it up is, it reminded me as I was listening to it, that's the Republican Party too. I mean, it might not be to that extreme, and maybe it is, but it's about, right, exactly, Jim on the chat. It's about being disfellowshipped, and that's why just try being a rugged individual in the Republican Party. They don't got time for that shit. You got to be like them. You got to be one of them. And now that includes being cruel and just being cruel to others who aren't like you. You forget just you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Those days are over for them because they have this bully mentality where they're going to just inflict their ignorance on others, and they will do it with the backing of the mob behind them. You know what I mean? So, and it's all to get attaboys from other freaks like them. And if you point it out, if ever there's a reaction to it, a negative reaction, which it should be from humans, then you're, of course, vilified as woke or, liberal tears. But the whole, make no mistake, the whole woke thing, that's another way that they get to dismiss the public shame that they should feel. There is a reason that human beings, that's what Mother Nature gave to us, so we can all live together. The ability to feel shame and to cry woke, the freak who cried woke is just another way that they deflect, that they attempt to block the rightful shame that they should feel. So, oh no, that's woke, too woke. You know what I mean? It's a way for them to dismiss that the very thing that they need to be to evolve. So they're kind of a lost cause in that sense, because if you have no remorse, if you don't have there's no chance that you're ever gonna evolve, you're ever gonna wake up, then you're hopeless. It's like, it's like the Jehovah's Witness. It'll continue because they'll blame it on their ancient book of fables. And what the Republicans, I don't know. They blame it on, it's just their inner authoritarian. So, yeah. Where is this other thing? Hold on. In much of what you're led to believe about Elon Musk is false. It really irritated me reading this because it's just like what we're saying just now. The fraudulent nature of these. Yeah, there was a time you would hope, maybe there was never really a time when. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Where this kind of behavior, being a fraud, would have some consequences. Now it's dismissed. It's like, oh, okay, because there's too much, they have too much power in propaganda. They can just cover it up and dismiss it. Oh, well, you're lying, right? It's, you're woke, you're fake news, you're a witch hunt. So Musk transferred Musk transferred into Penn from Queen's University in Canada. That is the easy way for admissions to an Ivy League. And then they took extra time to graduate. No record of him ever being accepted to Stanford. Oh, because they're pointing out the fact that he constantly says he went to Stanford. That's fraudulent. So, Musk misrepresents his affiliation with Stanford University. In several national publications, Musk has allegedly misrepresented his affiliation with Stanford University, claiming to have dropped out of the PhD program at the university when in fact he was never enrolled. These instances of misrepresentation include, but are not limited to, the following statements. In August of in a 1999 article about Musk on Salon.com, states that he went on to graduate a program in physics at Stanford in which he stayed exactly 2 days before dropping out. A true and correct copy of this article, this is from a lawsuit, is attached hitherto as Exhibit 32. On April 15th, 2003, in an article in USA Today, Musk states that he dropped out of Stanford University's doctoral program in physics. So, yes, he took, no record of him ever being accepted by Stanford, let alone attending and dropping out, has been produced. His status in terms of Stanford was even challenged by challenged in court by one of the real founders of Tesla. Because that's the other thing that people say. He's he founded Tesla. He's not a founder of Tesla. He bought into Tesla after it was founded. And then he proceeded to erase the other founders from all of the patents and the company documents. I mean, he's a piece of shit, this guy. He's a fucking narcissist, excuse my language, but that's what he is. He's a narcissist, sociopath. It reminds me of, we got to watch out for this shit. And I don't know, man. Aren't you sick of it, having to deal with these narcissist sociopaths? I'm sick of it. It reminds me of that fucking who is that psychopath, that Norwegian psychopath who killed, who wanted, what's his name? Who built the submarine. Why can't I talk? Come on. Who built the submarine? I have to that's why I use my hands, because it's like my hands follow my mouth will conform to the hands directions here. Okay, wait. Norwegian psychopath submarine. It's such a fucked up story, this. Yeah, Peter Madsen, yeah. It kind of does remind me of Peter Madsen, who was considered a genius, and probably more, if truth be told, was more of a genius than the effective marketer of Elon Musk ever is, could ever be called. Because this guy actually did make a submarine and shit like that. But he was a psychopath, is a psychopath. He's still alive. And then he lured a journalist onto his submarine, where he murdered her because he wanted to. He got off on it. He wanted to jerk off on because he's a piece of shit. And he took this woman's life, tortured her, dismembered her, and then lied about it. When he got back on land, everybody's like, "Where's the woman that you invited on?" I don't know. Her name was Kim Wall, and it's a horror show. It's a horror story. But I watched the documentary about him. It's on Netflix. I think it's called Into the Deep. But it's coincidentally there was a documentary film crew there, watching and documenting him with this submarine, this man, privately owned submarine that he was making, and with the help of a lot of volunteers who thought that he was a hero to them. So, it's chilling, because he actually seemed normal in a lot of ways, a little quirky, eccentric, but sort of like Musk, just a piece of dirt. And who knows really what goes on in the heads of these freaks, right? There's something wrong with somebody who behaves like this. You're such a fragile little fraud that you buy into a company that's successful and doing something good, and you're so threatened by everybody. You want to be the hero. You want to be perceived as somebody who made I did it myself, like my niece used to say when she was 4 years old. I'll do it myself. That you want to you want to be perceived as the one who did it himself. That you erase everybody's names from documents illegally. What is going on here? Why does that keep popping up? But the fact is, one of the actual founders of Tesla took him to court for for Musk trying to remove his name from Tesla documents. So it says Musk is not a founder of Tesla. He bought his way in and then sued for the co-founder title. He's not even legally allowed to call himself the founder. So on any Tesla literature or background, you will see co-founder. The co-founder is a purchased title. And then they link to an article saying, here is an article detailing this fraud from CNET.com. Okay, which says that that article is let me show you, instead of just telling you. That's the first rule in writing and in life. Don't tell, show. Right? Where is it? Here we go. Former Tesla CEO sues company's current CEO, Musk. In a complaint, one-time CEO Martin Eberhard says he wants to set the record straight and restore his reputation. The founder and former CEO of Tesla Motors, Martin Eberhard, is suing the company and current CEO, this is in 2009, by the way, Elon Musk, for libel and breach of contract, opening up another lawsuit at the young electric car maker. The lawsuit alleges that Musk sought to rewrite history by taking credit for the accomplishments of the very idea behind Tesla Motors, resulting in a damaged reputation for Eberhard. The suit was filed in the last week of May, but became public on Wednesday. In addition, the suit alleges that the company did not honor its agreement with Eberhard after he was removed as CEO. In particular, the suit says that Eberhard did not receive the valuable second Tesla Roadster produced and promised, and that the car he did receive was damaged in a poorly run road test. Well, that would be something that Elon Musk would do, wouldn't he? Give him something that isn't working. You technically abide by the agreements and in the settlement of the lawsuit, but also say fuck you, right? Because he's a child. He's a man baby. But that's what I'm saying, though. How sick is someone that they don't seem to care that they're frauds. They just want you to believe. It doesn't matter that they actually accomplish something. They want you to think they accomplish something, and they go about it in they go about the fraud in by any means necessary. It's like Trump and his taxes. We always knew why he didn't want his taxes revealed. It's because he was not as rich as he said he was. And that's the case. He's a fraud. He's always been a fraud. And in fact, aren't you disgusted? We'll get to Trump's tax returns, but thinking of them, he paid $750 in taxes for 2 years while he was president. I paid more than that. You paid more than that. This is a disgrace. It's disgusting. This is a freaking supposed billionaire who lives like a fatted parasite, like a bloated leech on the rest of us. That's what he is. How much longer are we going to take it? So, let's see. In the complaint, Eberhard asserts that public comments have, Elon Musk's public comments have debased and defamed him. Of course. Yeah. Not surprisingly, Tesla Motors has a different view of the situation, and they wrote, "This lawsuit is fictionalized, inaccurate account of Tesla's early years. It's twisted and wrong, and we welcome the opportunity to set the record straight." Incidentally, Tesla will also be filing counterclaims and in the process present an accurate account of the company's history. Sure. I guess that's coming in 2 weeks. Because it never came, as far as I know. I didn't see any, I did not see any rebut. Oh. Let's see. So like I was saying, Musk is not the founder of Tesla. He bought his way in, and then he sued he sued for the co-founder title. The most charitable explanation is that Musk sits in the hazard phase of knowledge on every topic. So, and it says, here's a great article from December 2018 highlighting that if you have expertise in a topic, you know that Musk does not. It explains that Musk is full of it on the following topics: reusable rockets, flying from New York to Shanghai in 30 minutes. It's like some kook going out there and just throwing things out and saying it's possible, and then saying wearing a shirt, let's colonize Mars, right? What did he have? He had a shirt that said "Occupy Mars." Oh, and that's another thing. They say he's full of it, colonizing Mars. He doesn't know anything about the Hyperloop, knows nothing about Neuralink, tunnels, autopilot, and the Thai cave fiasco, which I don't know if you guys remember, and this had slipped my mind myself, when those boys got caught in the Thai cave, the Thai football club, young boys, they rode their bikes to a cave, and then it began to rain, and they got trapped in the cave, and they were going to die unless something incredibly, almost beyond possibility would happen. The world came together to come up with ways to get these boys out of the cave. Luckily and happily, they were rescued. There was a diver did die. One of the divers died, I believe. I think it was just one, if I'm not mistaken. But Elon Musk, at the time, tried to muzzle in or muscle in or whatever, or tried to inflict himself because it was getting a lot of press. So Elon Musk said that he was going to send a submarine, a special submarine to rescue the boys. And of course he was full of shit. And the divers told him so. And they actually, let me find this fucking article before let's see. Musk and the cave. Because it's like a joke. And what happened when one of the what do you call it, the cave divers, and this is a very specialized type of diving that many people, I mean, it's extremely dangerous, as the death of one of the cave divers is a testament during the rescue. And they said to Musk, get the fuck out of here. It's not feasible. You cannot send a mini submarine into this cave. There are places you can barely squeeze through. It's not like, the open road. This is what they were trying to tell him. And Musk responded by going on Twitter before he owned the joint, going on Twitter and calling the divers pedophiles. Okay? This was in 2018. Do you see how sick Republicans are? The same old fucking same old song. You're a pedo. You don't believe me. So we're all going to waste time now, right? They're trying to rescue these boys. And everything has to stop to appease the fragile eggshell ego of a narcissist, of a sick narcissist who wants to get in on the publicity but offer nothing. And isn't man enough to just sit the fuck down and shut up. Let the experts do their job. Oh, I could do it, right? Oh, yeah. That's like Trump. Republicans have so devalued experts. Don't listen to those who were actually know the cave and dive in the cave. Only a handful of people on Earth could have performed that rescue. Because even if you're a diver, it doesn't mean you are a cave diver. But Elon Musk, is the expert on everything. This is what we are dealing with. Not just with him, but it's the overall. This is the zeitgeist of the age. Of a bunch of loudmouth, rapacious wealth, bloated parasites. I don't know. Pretending to be the expert on everything, except they're not even trying to be the experts on decency. They won't be a good example for young people. What do you think, young people? You got to think about young boys who are impressionable, growing up and looking at this shit. They go on Twitter and they watch grown men act like assholes. They do and say things that would get these little boys put in detention if they behave like that. But what does that do, right? Well, I guess they just want to impress the immature, the easily impressionable. So this is from 2018. Elon Musk has questioned the expertise of the Thai rescue officials who turned down his offer of a submarine despite their having organized the successful rescue of 12 boys and their football coach from a flooded cave. This is from The Guardian by Kevin Ralston back in 2018, July of 2018. The entrepreneur had offered his help and posted footage of tests being carried out on the apparatus he proposed in recent days. But while Narragansett Asatankanhorn, excuse me, I know I butchered that, the head of the Joint Command Center coordinating the operation, acknowledged Musk's offer and said that the mini-submarine would not have been practical for the cave rescue. Even though their equipment is technically sophisticated, it doesn't fit with our mission to go into the cave, he told reporters. In response, Musk said that Osatinkorn was not the subject matter expert, and neither was he. Who the fuck is this guy? Instead of saying, okay, sir, any other way, maybe make a sandwich, right, and bring some lunch for the families and the onlookers. He said, you're not the expert on this subject matter, adding that he believed he'd been inaccurately described as the rescue chief and should be more accurately referred to as the former Thai provincial governor. You see what I mean? Loser. Because he had stepped down as the governor of the Chai Rai during the rescue operation, but remained as its commander. I mean, fuck off. Why are we dealing with this asshole? Everybody's got to stop and deal with the asshole. It's like when a baby poops their diaper. You got to stop, you got to stop. You got to change the diaper. You can't go about your business. You can't do anything productive. You just got to stop and deal with the diaper because there's a big stench. Musk posted an image of his email correspondent with Dick Stanton, the British diver who first made contact with the football squad and their coach, in which Stanton asked the inventor to keep working on a project that could potentially bear fruit. Moreover, based on extensive cave video review and discussion with several other divers who know the journey, SpaceX engineer is absolutely certain that the mini-sub can do the entire journey at any time, Musk added. Musk can see, he's saying, look, he said it in our email exchange. He said, keep working on it. What the fuck are you going to say? When one overgrown man-child emails you, I'm sure the man was trying to be polite. Okay, thank you. Keep working on it. That's all you can say. And then you go about your business actually getting shit done. Good boy. Good. You could go, thank you. Now the adults have to continue the mission. Musk congratulated the team who carried out the operation, which concluded successfully on Tuesday. Great news, they made it out safely. Congratulations to an outstanding rescue team. I'm sure that's really stuck in his throat, but he just needed to inflict his narcissism on the situation because the whole world was focusing on him, and he wanted to be the great fucking hero. Why don't he fuck off to Mars already? I'm wondering, why doesn't he fuck off to Mars? Why don't he take them all? Take Trump. Take, all of the billionaires with you. They can all go gold to Mars. Wouldn't that be great? Go gold. Go shrug. Atlas will shrug in Mars. He said he would be leaving the mini submarine behind in Thailand in case it can be used in the future. Fuck you. No, we don't want your stupid jerk-off submarine. Mini submarine, because you don't know what you're talking about. Let me see. Hold on. Here it is from The Guardian. Musk calls British diver in Thai rescue a pedo. A pedo. Because I guess this is, I don't know, was this the first time Republicans started with this pedo bullshit? Musk came under fire on Sunday after this is from 2018 again, after launching an extraordinary attack on the British diver who helped rescue the boys trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand, baselessly calling him a pedo on Twitter and then doubling down, because that's what you do when you're an overgrown man-child Republican. Being a Republican means never saying sorry. And you act like a dick. And all of your your incel Nazi fanboys and fangirls all love it. And then when you're called out by the woke, meaning anyone who's decent, capable of functioning in a democracy, isn't a complete and utter fraud. When they call that out, when they just say how gross you are, you call them a pedo. 12 boys and their football coach were rescued from the Tham Lang Cave complex by an international team after a week of intense drama. The chief executive of the tech giant Tesla offered to assist the rescue mission by providing a submarine. The request was turned down. Musk lashed out, saying he would make a video proving that his mini-sub would be successful, and adding, "Sorry, pedo guy, you really did ask for it." I mean, this is a genius. This is a fucking genius. That's a genius? Am I right? I mean, could you imagine Stephen Hawking's behaving like that? Sorry, pedo. What a vile, what horrible people, you know? Let's play the game again. Although all Republicans are not horrible people, all horrible people are Republican. Yes, exactly. It fits again. The accusation, presented without evidence or context, was directed at Vern Unsworth, a British cave expert who recently said Musk's attempt to help the rescue effort was a PR stunt. No evidence has emerged to substantiate Musk's claim of pedophilia, of course. Because, you gotta wonder, too, the way that these Republicans throw that pedo charge around, it's another confession or a projection. Because there are a lot of Republicans who are pedos. You realize that. Or in some form, a sexual predator or deviant or, just, let's see. I got a whole thing on that, too. Republicans and sex crimes. We'll read that maybe in a minute. So the evidence, well, let me see. Well, not the evidence. The what's the guy's name? Vern Unsworth said it had absolutely no chance of working. He said he had no concept or conception of what the cave passage was like. The submarine, I believe, was 5 feet 6 inches long, rigid, and wouldn't have gone around corners or around any obstacles. Musk visited the cave system himself. Unsworth said the billionaire was asked to leave very quickly. He also told CNN Musk could stick his submarine where it hurts. Good. On Sunday, when a Twitter user pointed out that Musk was calling the guy who found the children a pedo, the billionaire responded, "Betcha a signed dollar, it's true." what is wrong with these people? They bring nothing. You think we couldn't? Oh well, he made Tesla. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He's going to Mars. No, he's not. Everything he's involved in is somebody was doing it before he got there, SpaceX included. He's just a bullshit artist, as we can tell by the fact that he's on Twitter 24/7, doing nothing but enabling Nazis. I went out to dinner with a friend of mine recently, and I think I told you about my friend who I love, of course, but he listens to right-wing radio on occasion. I don't know what his problem is. It's really ridiculous. And I said something about Musk letting all these Nazis back on Twitter. And he's like, he said, they're human beings. This is my friend who's gay, too, okay? And I'm like, he's letting human beings back. I'm like, human beings who are Nazis. How do you know they're Nazis? They're just humans. And I wondered for a second, is that something that's been spread on right-wing radio? He's just allowing humans on, and everyone's calling them Nazis. Is that something that the right-wingers are saying on their propaganda swill channels? Because I was like, yeah, Nazis like the Daily Stormer. That is a Nazi. That's a legit Nazi account. It's not about, oh, I'm a human being who happens to hold Nazi views. It's an account that's, hey, hi guys, we're Nazis. That's who he's letting back. I mean, it's really fucked up. But you see how it just proves everything I say. It's about propaganda. That's why this country's so sick and divided. It's because of propaganda. It's because of corporate media and right-wing propaganda. I mean, the corporate media is just the capitalism's propaganda, which ain't that far off of fascist propaganda. They would be happily they would happily run cover for a fascist regime. They certainly would in this country. As long, they wouldn't mind if Trump was not somebody who was so disgusting. They would happily run cover for him if he didn't, send a violent mob to the Capitol to try to overthrow the semblance of democracy that we have. That's all this country, I mean, the corporate media would, if God forbid, what's his name? DeSantis became the so-called president despite receiving fewer votes. Corporate media would run cover for him in an instant. They would act like he's, whatever his policies would be. We know they would be repugnant, and they would be anti-democratic, small d democratic, and they would be harmful to the majority, and they would increase income disparity and upward immobility. Why they would widen the income gap. There would be targeted minority groups. That it would be horrible for the health and well-being of the country. Of course, it would be detrimental to democracy. It would be terrible for humanity. But the corporate media would go right along with it and would, that's what the corporate media is there for. It would do its its function. I mean, and I still believe that is what the corporate media, they would have done the same thing for Trump if he wasn't so vile. They're just... Oh, and then that's the other thing my friend said. He's like, he gave me the whole both sides do it and both sides suck and how the media's biased. And he's like, I work in media. I'm like, me too. I know. I've in the halls of the media, of the corporate media. I know what goes on. He's like, it's biased. It's biased? How? Show me something biased. Truth has a liberal bias. That's the problem. Reality has a liberal bias. So where's the bias? And so reporting what goes on is bad because it doesn't look good for Trump. When we pull back the covers, it doesn't look good for Trump when we don't pull back the covers, when we just look at him. He's a fucking fraud from head to toe. Through and through, he's a piece of dirt. From the minute he came down the escalator, calling a minority, targeting other human beings with this bullshit. They're rapists. Maybe the update would be, they're pedos. You fucking... It's like the idiots who cry pedo. Well, while we're on it, while I brought it up, here, let's talk about Republicans and sex crimes. Jordan Weissman, right? I think it was in Salon. I don't remember now. Okay. Where is it? Okay, because American politics are now just one long, low-rent nightmare, Republican culture warriors have spent the past few weeks slandering their various enemies as being soft on pedophilia. For some time, this sort of raving was mostly confined to QAnon, the Trump-idolizing conspiracy cult that believes Democratic politicians and other elites are secretly operating a global child trafficking ring. But a confluence of events has helped bring a version of this mainstream. But I guess, this is me talking, not the article, but I guess a lot of people did forget about Elon Musk and his calling everybody pedos back in 2018. During the Supreme Court confirmation hearings of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson in March, Republican Senators Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, the traitors, attempted to smear the nominee by inaccurately claiming that she has a record of handing out unusually light sentences in cases where the defendants were accused of viewing child pornography. I mean, what a vile bunch of fuckers these people are. How scummy they are. They're not fit to lick Ketanji Brown Jackson's toe jam. They're not fit to sit in the same room with her. Josh Hawley. He just wrote a book on manliness. I mean, what these fucking people need mental health checks. They need to be in a psych ward, all of them, under 24-hour observation. They need group therapy. They need a group hug. They need to just get the help they need, and stop inflicting it on decent people like Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't matter. They saw their morons off grabbing onto this pedophile bullshit. And I'll tell you, as we know, many of the same morons who spread this pedo and grooming bullshit are pedos. You realize that? There's been numerous arrests of Republican influencers for child, trafficking, all kinds of shit. Child, sexual assault material. I can't. We'll get to it. Let's see. Where was I? The issue descended deeper into absurdity after the 3 moderate Republicans voted to confirm Jackson this week, and Representative Perjury Trader Greene, the walking id of MAGA America, tweeted about them, saying that Murkowski, Collins, and Romney are pro-pedophile. Oh my God. I hate that. How? Why? What did I do in a past life that I had to come back now and share the same air as Perjury Trader Greene? Right? Doesn't it feel like a punishment?
By the way, you can pick up a butt plug or a dildo at Target and CVS nowadays.
Oh, wow. It's just in time for Christmas, right, Perjury? That's when I saw that clip. I thought...
By the way, you can pick up a butt plug or a dildo at Target and CVS nowadays.
By the way, I mean, what are you, dropping hints for Christmas? Perjury? Just in time for Christmas. You can pick up how much, Perjury? You can pick up a butt plug or a dildo at CVS and Target. Oh, great. Someone has a birthday coming up, right? Is that it? That's what I thought. Are you trying to let us know what you want for Christmas? Perjury? All right. Pro-pedophile. Meanwhile, defenders of Florida's Don't Say Gay law, which strictly limits public school teachers' ability to discuss LGBTQ people and issues in the classroom, began referring to the legislation as an anti-grooming bill because Republicans are sick. They want people to die. They want Americans to die. They want other Americans to hate other Americans and be very triggered by other Americans. And they want to stoke the mob. They don't care what kind of mob. They want mobs, all different kinds of mobs, anti-gay mobs, anti-American mobs, anti-democracy mobs, anti-Mexican mobs, right? Anti-immigrant mobs. They just want different pockets of mobs, anti-government mobs. They want, and then they add the fuel to the fire with their filth, and set mobs loose amongst the American community, because they love America. They love the Constitution. They want to promote the general welfare by sending mobs out into the streets to kill other Americans. They want confusion. They want to stir up hate. You can buy a butt plug and a dildo. Fuck off, Perjury Trader Greene. We know that you're a serial adulterer. So why don't you take that 2x4 out of your own eye before you start looking at the splinters in everybody else's? Yes, because shame. What if a child sees that sex is just a normal part of life? What the fuck can go wrong? It's horrible, because children should grow up like Republicans. They should grow up to hate themselves they should grow up to hate others. Right? They should grow up repressed and self-loathing and in the closet. And if they hate themselves and think that they're dirty, inherently dirty and disgusting, they will join the Republican Party. And the cycle will continue. Right? I guess that's why they want everybody to just never show that or to just hide kids from the notion that human beings have sex. I'm not saying show them pornography. Nobody fucking is saying that. But imagine if it's not, if they're not heaped with shame. And in other countries, they discuss things with children in the ways that children understand, but they understand that, there's good touching, bad touching, that they prepare them to be fully actualized adults and not sexual predators like Republicans. Like Madison Cawthorn. People who jump on their cousin's face. Right? Fucking fuckers. Meanwhile, defenders of the... Yes, what did I say? Anti-grooming bill evoking the deeply homophobic idea that an adult would only talk about these topics with a child in order to prime them for abuse. After Disney, one of Florida's largest employers, called for the law to be repealed, conservative social media influencers and Fox News personalities like Laura Ingraham launched a wild crusade against the company, accusing it, too, of being complicit in grooming. Fuck you. Grooming. Because any mention of gay people means you're grooming? Because you got to be ashamed, you see? They bring back shame. That's the Republican way. They can't exist. There would be no Republican Party if there weren't freaks racked with shame. Where do you think fascism comes from? People don't get attracted to fascism because they're emotionally, spiritually, and sexually stable, right? They are attracted to these freak ideologies because they're sick and twisted in all ways, at all levels. So the writer continues, this is galling, but it is especially rich considering that of the two major parties, the GOP has many more notable and recent scandals involving sexual abuse of minors and young students, as well as a recent track record of reacting to them with a shrug. Let's review some of the history. In 2006, Florida Rep. Mark Foley was forced to resign after it was revealed that he sent some sexually explicit messages and propositioned teenage congressional pages via email and text. That's some fucking grooming. That's grooming in the actual sense of the word. In 2015, former Rep. Dennis Hastert, the longest ever serving Republican Speaker of the House, pleaded guilty to making illegal hush money payments in order to cover up his history of sexually abusing high school wrestlers that he had coached decades before. Nothing is more stunning than having serial child molester and Speaker of the House in the same sentence, the judge said at his sentencing. So, during and after the 2016 presidential race, among the dozens of women who accused former so-called President Donald Trump, despite receiving fewer votes, of being a sexual predator, were several contestants of the 1997 teen Miss USA pageant who reported that he barged into their dressing room while the girls as young as 15 were changing. Trump allegedly told them, "Don't worry, ladies, I've seen it all before." His campaign denied the accusation, but CNN unearthed a 2005 Howard Stern interview where Trump bragged about it and bragged about walking into the backstage dressing rooms of the pageants he ran. And you remember the audio, right? During the 2018 midterms, Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore was accused of preying on girls as young as 14. The New Yorker reported that his habit of trying to pick up high schoolers was so notorious that it actually got him banned from his local mall. Banned from the mall, banned from the bowling alley. I mean, these are not the cream of the crop we're dealing with. Also in 2018, Representative Jim Jordan, of one of Trump's fiercest allies and co-founder of the hardline conservative fucking Freedom Caucus, became embroiled in a scandal over his time as a wrestling coach at Ohio State University, where the team doctor named Richard Strauss, who committed suicide in 2005, was found to have sexually abused more than 177 male student athletes. An investigation commissioned by the university found that Strauss regularly used examinations as an excuse to grope and fondle the students, sometimes to the point of ejaculation, often ordered them to strip nude unnecessarily, and in 2 cases attempted to perform oral sex. Numerous former wrestlers told reporters that Jordan was personally aware of the abuse during the early 90s, but chose to turn a blind eye. The congressman simply denied having any knowledge of it and suggested at least one of the accusers that claiming otherwise was acting on a personal vendetta against him. And we also know, and I'm sure I have the video somewhere, of one of the brothers of the accusers testifying under oath before Congress that Jim Jordan called him and cried, literally cried, conservative tears. That the conservatives only cry when they're crying for themselves, you see. Cried and begged this young man, who was a younger man at the time, but begged him to get his brother to not report that he was sexually abused and that Jim Jordan knew about it. That they went to Jim Jordan and asked him to help them, and he did nothing. He turned a blind eye because the guy was his friend. Jim Jordan is a dirtbag. I wonder if I have that. And he's another one of these unbearable dirtbags. Grandstanding. These little trademark fucking non-jacket. And oh my God, he's always yelling. I don't know what it is. What is it about Jim Jordan's voice? It doesn't seem like he's yelling, but it is like it's so grating. Ugh. Republicans only cry for themselves. It's really true. Here, I just want to play this.
Jim Jordan called me crying. Groveling. On the 4th of July. Begging me to go against my brother. Begging me. Crying for a half hour. That's the kind of cover-ups that's going on there. Now, you guys can sit and act like it's not going on, but I got a lot of other stuff here. Emails that were taken out of my mailbox. That's a crime. There's a lot of things going on.
Crying. Finally, Matt Gaetz of Florida, well, this was when he was currently currently the subject of a literal sex trafficking investigation, looking into whether he had sex with underage girls, among other issues. On Twitter, liberals have taken to rattling off this list of scandals, among others. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. In response to conservative accusations of grooming. In a somewhat apt turn of events, a former Republican National Committee staffer was sentenced for child pornography the same day that Ketanji Brown Jackson was confirmed to the court. You see? Oh, and that guy, I mean, these people are real monsters. The ex-RNC staffer got more than 12 years in prison. His name is Ruben Verastegui. Verastegui, yeah. A probe that snared Ruben Verastegui allegedly involved at least 18 others. They had him... I don't know if they had him on tape or they had him or it was an email, but he was literally saying that his favorite type of child sexual assault material was infants. He loved watching infants being abused. But he was a big holy roller, the guy. Big holy roller. Big at the right to life or the March for Life. He was a speaker there. You know, he wanted all the little babies to, you know, he was defending life for because all the babies, he wanted more babies to be abused. Let's see. Some have gone further, remarking that the GOP is particularly afflicted with a pedophile problem. Every accusation is a confession, goes one of the popular refrains. From large social media accounts have been trying to make the phrase pedocon stick. Personally, I don't think Democrats ought to start earnestly debating with Republicans over which party really has more pedophiles overall, which is a sentence I can really believe I'm typing. I can't really believe I'm typing, okay? Or reading for that matter. Sexual abuse and misconduct doesn't have a partisan valance. You can certainly find Democrats out in the world who've been convicted of child porn charges, and never forget Anthony Weiner went to jail for sexting a 15-year-old girl. But if conservatives are going to smear progressives as groomers and pose as the nation's protector of children, it's certainly fair to bring up this history. It's also entirely valid to note how weak the GOP response has been to recent scandals concerning their own rank and file. The way Republicans set aside a vast array of sexual abuse charges against Trump and lined up behind him has been discussed so many times that there's really no need to go over it again. The party's response to Moore, meanwhile, was what you might describe as pathetic. To their credit, a number of elected Republicans did call on Moore to exit the race, or they said they would have to vote for a write-in candidate. So, and the Republican National Committee pulled its funding from his campaign. Republican National Committee did as well, at least briefly. But Donald Trump decided to re-endorse Moore. The RNC resumed its support, saying, "We stand with our president." Fuck you. You see what I mean? But not with the kids at the mall. When it came to Jordan, congressional Republicans simply circled the wagons. In 2018, House Speaker Paul Ryan waved off demands for an ethics committee hearing into whether Jordan was inquiry whether he was lying. He then called Jordan a man of honesty and a man of integrity. Don't you want to vomit? I know I do. A man of honesty and integrity. That's Jim Jordan. Unreal. I'm just looking at some videos. See if there's any appropriate ones to play. Anyway, whatever. Let's see. Later in 2020, Jordan's GOP colleagues selected him to become the top-ranking Republican on the House Judiciary Committee. It's coming again, guys. Get ready for the shit show. The clown show is coming. Well, as if we haven't suffered enough. Oh my God. Okay. Which handles federal criminal legislation, including issues on sex trafficking and child pornography. Liz Cheney, the then number 3 Republican in the House, said it was a totally unified decision all around. So lest we forget who Liz Cheney is. This all unfolded in the face of credible allegations that Jordan not only knew about the abuse at Ohio State, but had responded to multiple students who told him about it with comments like, if he tried that on me, I'd kill him. You see, it's the abused boy's fault because he should have killed him. Why didn't you kill him? By all accounts, Strauss's behavior was an open secret. 6 former wrestlers told CNN that they were personally present when Jordan heard misconduct complaints about the doctor. A former ref also filed a lawsuit alleging that he complained to Jordan and another coach after Strauss masturbated in front of him, and they responded, "Yeah, that's Strauss." Can you fucking believe these people? Boys will be boys. That's Strauss. He's just, that's it. You want to play on the wrestling team? You're going to have to deal with this old fucking dirtbag jerking off on you. That's Strauss. That's our Strauss. Jordan claims that he was cleared of wrongdoing in the official report by Ohio State's investigators, which did not mention his name. Investigators concluded that what we have said from the beginning. Congressman Jordan never knew of any abuse, and if he would have dealt with it, even though we have numerous witnesses with testimony to the contrary. Okay. But that's not what the report actually said. Rather, the investigators wrote that except in the case of the coach, they could not identify any other contemporaneous documentary evidence proving that athletic staff were aware of Strauss's actions. In other words, there was no paper trail. However, they did add that 22 coaches confirmed to the investigative team that they were aware of rumors and or complaints about Strauss dating back to the 1970s. That's Strauss. That's our Strauss. Could you imagine? You know, that's how it is with Republicans. That's our Strauss. If you're in on with them, if you're a filthy fascist like them, oh well. Some people are born to be slaves, like Rush Limbaugh said. Some boys are just born to be abused. If you're a Democrat, you're too woke. If you're not woke, you're with us. You want to molest boys? Go right ahead. That's our Strauss. Anyway. These people make me sick. But worse, they make us all sick. That's the problem. They make the country sick. They make humanity sick. They make the general welfare sick. I mean, really, I think I would be shocked if a Republican, I don't know, didn't behave like that. I don't know what will we ever live to see the day where Republicans aren't horrific and bringing nothing to the table? I wonder. I wonder what I'd like to see that day. All right, let's talk about, here's, yeah. There's a couple of things. Oh. You know what I found funny? That when Trump's taxes were released, which we haven't seen the whole thing yet. We've only seen summaries of Trump's taxes, but the Republicans are very upset that it's unprecedented. And supposedly, it's not unprecedented, but they're just a bunch of drama queens who are searching for the superior moral justification for corruption, for covering corruption. That's what they're afraid of. Well, if they're bribes, they don't want their bribes getting out there. And I found it funny. They were like, this is going to set a precedent, and it was almost like a warning that they're warning us that they will release the taxes of Supreme Court justices. Pretty please? Oh, don't throw us in that briar patch. For goodness sakes. I don't understand how they don't think that's not a threat. You promise? I thought this was funny because the Yahoo website, where Jack Holmes writes for Yahoo Life website. Oh no, it's not Yahoo Life. It's just coming up on that. It's from Esquire. That's why I was like, what is this website? But it's actually very small underneath. It says Esquire. Releasing Trump's tax returns could mean the same for the Supreme Court. Don't threaten us with a good time. Really? You promise? Pretty please? Jack Holmes writes, the House Ways and Means Committee released the executive summary of a report on former assholes, Trump, whatever, the con man's tax returns late Tuesday. And the findings were about what you'd expect. The headline seems to be that the IRS was not conducting its mandatory audits, and we'll get into that, because he's, corruption. It's corruption. The headline seems to be that the IRS was not conducting its mandatory audits of a sitting president while Trump was staining the White House. Longtime viewers may remember that Trump used to promise he would soon release his returns, but they were under audit. Oh, the fact is they weren't. After a while, he stopped even offering the audit excuse and just waged an all-out legal war to keep them out of the view of the public. You'd be shocked, I tell you, to learn that the returns in question feature red flags regarding charitable contributions, related party loans, and various deductions Trump has claimed since 2015. Because he's a piece of dirt. You see, he's not just dirt, he's a piece of dirt. Charitable deduction. Nobody checked into it. He's like, That's why he declared negative. He made less than, and every year he made less. He declared like a negative $45,000, not 40, $45 million in income. I got to start doing this. What if you did that? That's the problem. We would get audited. We would be in trouble. Oh, we don't have pals in the IRS. We don't get to appoint the dirtbag who wrote an article saying that Trump shouldn't release his tax returns. We don't get to appoint that guy as the head of the IRS. You see, I mean, I'm so sick of it. This is the problem. Money in politics. And you know what? Worse than that, it's not just the problem in politics. It's money is the problem. Greed. That's the problem. And we should do everything in our power as a civilized society that and to honor those who overthrew that kind of wealth and power, that kind of corruption. They fought a revolution to overthrow the intergenerational aristocracy that had its boot on our necks for thousands of years. So we should do everything in our power to ensure that that parasitic wealth doesn't run the show anymore. To have a constitution that promotes, that says right in there numerous times in all capital letters, promote the general welfare. That's a radical thing. It doesn't talk about how the king was given to us by God to rule over us because we don't know what I'm doing. Otherwise it would be Babylonia on earth. It would be like hell on earth. It would be disorder and discord. It wouldn't be the natural order of things. The natural order of things is to have your Lord beg your Lord for a trickle. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's why the Republicans are a fundamentally undemocratic bunch of traitors. They hate the notion that of the general welfare. In period, end of sentence. Just put a pin in that. They hate that shit. The general welfare? They hate that. They want the welfare of those who deserve it. The welfare of the 1%. We are meant. That's the way God wants it, to we promote the welfare of the 1%. That's it. That's the two prevailing ideology. Oh, not prevailing. The two, that's the tension in Western civilization. For now, democracies supposedly are have the upper hand, but up against the ropes. It does, it's not guaranteed that it's going to remain this way. The funniest element has been the extended histrionics from the House Republicans at the prospects that Trump's tax returns could be released. As a reminder, every presidential candidate since Nixon has voluntarily released their tax returns except Trump, the guy whose foundation and university have been shuttered for extremely above-board business practices and whose flagship company was found guilty of criminal tax fraud. earlier this month. If you're curious whether Joe Biden is getting shady kickback payments from Hunter Biden via his laptop or whatever, you could start your investigation by reviewing his tax returns, right? For a few years. And you could do that right now because they're posted. They're friggin' posted on his website. But the public getting a look at the tax returns of, Mr. Conman is a national emergency. You see what I'm saying? Republicans act like, we're going to be so up to our fucking balls with this Hunter Biden's laptop. I mean, if we were up to our balls with Hunter Biden's laptop, we'd be lucky. It's going to be up to the stars with this Hunter Biden's laptop. It's going to be the new gross, tedious, never-ending, repetitive. I mean, it's never going to stop, this Hunter Biden's laptop shit. We're going to have to deal with this for the next 2 years until we get rid of these Republicans legally and peacefully. It's such an emergency to Republicans, in fact, that Representative Ken Brady took to the microphones to warn of the slippery slope that we were towing up to in this dark day in American history. Wait, hold on. It's so funny.
Going forward, the majority chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee and the Senate Finance Committee will have nearly unlimited power to target and make public the tax returns of private citizens. And not just private citizens,
good
political enemies, business and labor leaders, or even the returns of Supreme Court justices themselves.
Hell no.
No party in Congress should have that power. No individuals in Congress should have that power.
Why?
It's a power to embarrass, to harass,
what?
Or destroy Americans through disclosure of their tax returns.
Well, I don't understand why you're so afraid. It's to embarrass? Because maybe it's to warn the American people that the fucking con man is a compromised Putin puppet. How about that? Or maybe where's he getting these bribes from? Whatever your name is. Kev Brady, whatever your hell name is. It's like, this is a national emergency. They can release the tax returns of Supreme Court justices. Oh, pretty please. Who paid off Justice I Like Beer's debt? He was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Who paid it off all of a sudden? Where'd that come? I'd like to know. Wouldn't we all like to know who's getting bribed? This is the problem. It's a way to embarrass. It's a way to protect our democracy from a bunch of traitors, from a bunch of greed-centered ghouls. Right? I don't see why they think this is some thing that we should all be concerned about. Release my taxes. I don't give a shit. Release them. I paid more taxes than Trump. Lots more. And that's a little annoying. That piece of that parasite, that full bloated parasite is riding on my back. if the House Ways and Means Committee were to regularly publish the tax returns of private citizens who were not president of the United States in less than 2 years ago, that would indeed be a problem. Business and labor leaders would be a problem too, but the inclusion of the Supreme Court justices here, it almost feels like a Freudian slip. At present, the justices enjoy probably the most generous veil of secrecy for any major government officials, and they merely have the power to declare things legal or illegal at any time, and sometimes without explanation. Supreme Court justices are the only judicial body not subject to a code of ethics, even though, hello, Ginny Thomas, Uncle Clarence Thomas, I like beer, Brett, Justice Amy Coney handmaid, Gorsuch, all of these dishonorable traitors. Give me a break. We should know where they get their money from. Who's paying them? Who paid off Kavanaugh's debts? The Supreme Court justices are like I said, the only ones who don't have a code of ethics, the only judicial body. Conflicts of interest are considered a non-factor, apparently. Now, recently, of course, right? They used to be, they held themselves to some kind of higher standard. They would recuse themselves. That never happens anymore. Conflicts of interest are considered a non-factor. Since Ginny Thomas's activism has not spurred Justice Uncle Clarence to recuse himself from January 6 cases. For years, Thomas and Antonin Scalia would visit conferences and seminars organized by, at least in one case, a secretive network of Republican donors led by the Koch brothers. Justice Alito has been accused of cozying up with anti-abortion and other conservative activists. Many justices have deep ties to the Federalist Society, which in turn has deep ties to powerful interests with business, before the court. Releasing their taxes might not tackle all of this in the way of a code of ethics, but it would possibly offer some insight whether Justice I Like Beer is still buying so many baseball tickets. Right? Remember that? Yeah, the mystery of Brett Kavanaugh's baseball ticket debt. How did the nominee for the Supreme Court spend $60,000 to $200,000 on Washington national seats? And how did he pay it off so quickly? That's the question. During his confirmation hearings in 2005, Justice John Roberts told senators that he saw his job as a judge as a matter of calling balls and strikes. Brett Kavanaugh, whom President Asshole nominated to sit alongside Roberts, has apparently spent a great deal of time and money observing literal balls and strikes being thrown. According to financial disclosures, Kavanaugh had between $60,000 and $200,000 in debt, spread across 3 credit cards and a loan. And let's see, the Washington Post reported that the White House has an explanation for the debt. Kavanaugh spent it on Washington Nationals tickets, all of it. A White House spokesman leading the communications push for Kavanaugh's fucking fake nomination said that I Like Beer had purchased Nationals seasons tickets and payoffs and playoff seats for himself and a handful of friends, and each credit card had between $15,000 and $50,000 in debt. as did a personal loan. By the time of his 2017, could you imagine taking out a personal loan to buy baseball tickets? Supposedly. By the time of his 2017 disclosure, the debts were mysteriously gone. Isn't that odd? Where did it come from? Where do you get all of the sudden? Did you get it from mama? You got a mama still? Mommy or daddy? Who? Where'd you get it from? Who paid off your debts? You fucking parasite. You I like beer parasite. Who likes beer? The eye-popping figures, tens of $1,000s on baseball tickets? Can you believe that? Spotlight Kavanaugh's own financial situation and the bruising contours of a high-stakes confirmation fight, and they raise questions on how the debt was paid off so quickly. More importantly and curiously, the question is not how Kavanaugh accrued the debts attributed supposedly to baseball tickets, but how he paid it down. It's strange to imagine that a man of comparatively modest means would put tens of thousands of dollars on a credit card to buy baseball tickets. But even stranger that they would be paid off so quickly. Just like someone paid this debt. For what reason? The White House says that I Like Beer's friends reimbursed him for the tickets and that he no longer buys them. The fact remains that that I Like Beer suddenly cleared at least $60,000 and $200,000 in mysterious debt over 1 year, sums large enough that senators might want to know where the sources of the payments were. It would be challenging, though not impossible, to accrue as much of debt in such a short time on season tickets. Whatever. You see what I mean? Well, it's Republicans. It's okay if a Republican does it. Right? That's the way it is. Let's get back to more important news like Hunter Biden's laptop. All right. Where is it? The House Ways and Means Committee report finding that Trump was not properly audited by the IRS as president. Oh, what a surprise. What a effing surprise. You mean there's gambling at this casino? It's just incredible. It's incredible. Hello, everybody. I haven't been paying a lot of time in the chat room. Nice to see you, everyone. Jim and Covert, White Rabbit, and Terry Taylor. And nice to see you, Stephen Dretler in the chat, and Errol Thomas, and Terry Taylor, and Play Dave, and Haiku, of course. Thank you, Haiku, for being a moderator. And Thomas Garrett. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Sage. Yeah. Tommy Smith on the chat says, Hillary Clinton was right about every MFing thing regarding Trump. She really was. Isn't it horrible to think? I mean, I was not a Hillary Clinton fan or whatever. I was for Bernie, but I voted for Hillary because I don't completely hate America, of course. I want to make America great. So I didn't want to give it to a con man with a fake university and a vitamin scam and a history of sexual assault. You know, a pedo, a groomer. And but, I mean, she was so right. It was almost like Miss Cleo up in this bitch talking about him. How he's a Putin puppet, how he's a traitor, how he's not as rich as he says he is. Oh, and by the way, just thinking about the Republicans as Putin puppets and traitors, and earlier when Zelensky was speaking, Republicans were the usual suspects, perjury traitor Greene and Lauren banned from the bowling alley Boebert, weren't applauding for him. I wanted to play this video. It reminded me of this video about how Republicans are a bunch of Putin puppets. So let's just play it quickly. It's only a minute and a half.
On July 4th, 2018, after the Senate Intelligence Committee confirmed that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, 8 Republicans were at the Kremlin doing a photo op with high-ranking members of Vladimir Putin's regime.
Lawmakers traveled to Moscow this week on a Republicans-only trip to Russia.
One Russian official said the 8 Republicans were soft and that the meeting was one of the easiest of his life. Senator Ron Johnson even downplayed Russian election interference just days after his 4th of July trip to Moscow, and after Putin illegally invaded Ukraine and started shelling cities full of civilians. Ron Johnson went on Fox News to blame President Biden.
I don't think Vladimir Putin would have moved on Ukraine were it not for the weakness displayed certainly by the Biden administration, but also by the West in general.
If these senators were truly worried about Russia, why did they all vote to block 3 separate election security bills? Why did they cover for Trump when he withheld crucial military aid to Ukraine? Why have they all consistently taken Putin's side? Vladimir Putin has shown that his goal is to destabilize Western democracy. From Ukraine to the U.S., we can't allow his puppets to sink their claws deeper into our government. America, vote out Russia's Republican allies in 2022.
Yeah. Just wanted to remind you who they are. They really are a bunch of Putin puppets. And that's what, when I hear Republicans like perjury traitor Greene, they're constantly attacking Zelensky. And in fact, here is, while today Zelensky spoke at Congress, here's pissant Charlie Kirk's response.
There's a $2 trillion omnibus bill that cannot be passed without Republican support. Cannot happen. Now, we've already sent over $100 billion to Ukraine. I just got to brag on this show a little bit. Our production team, our guests, we have been warning about Ukraine and this being a waste of money and a waste of time since the very beginning. And now they want to spend another $45 billion. Where's this money going? Where are the weapons going? Is it being audited? The answer is no. We are doing direct bank transfers into the treasury of Ukraine. And as I mentioned, the uppity foreigner, the international welfare queen, that can't be bothered to put on a suit and tie. I don't know. Let me just make sure I get this right. Is Zelensky wearing a suit and tie today? I don't know. He's probably wearing the Fetterman look.
Unreal. You say? They're these useless idiots of democracy's demise. Welfare. He calls Zelensky a welfare queen. You know, because Republicans are always on the wrong side of history. They hate democracy. They love autocracy. They especially love Putin. They love fake strongmen who act like they're strongmen by going bare-chested on a horse. They like all the displays, the over-the-top displays of this fake masculinity. They're not strong in any sense of the word. They're weak. They're weak as shit. And Charlie Kirk especially He's not, just like perjury traitor Greene and Lauren banned from the bowling alley Boebert. What will history say of them? They'll only support Ukraine after the fact. You understand? When Ukraine wins, when they finally kick the autocrats' ass, and history is written, the history of this time, and Zelensky is lauded as the hero he is, and remembered as such, as someone that, I don't know, we should all aspire to well, at least aspire to support in this effort to actually promote freedom, because that's what the Ukrainians are fighting for. They want freedom, the freedom to live in a democracy, to the freedom of self-governance. They don't want this little pissant rolling in, because they all have the same views. They hate gays like Republicans do. They want women in their place like Republicans do. They have the same ideology as Putin. You understand? And they like the strong man, the fake, democracy, the veneer of democracy that is actually an autocracy run by a thin-skinned autocrat, a corrupt autocrat that's a parasite, another parasite. Zelensky is fighting for democracy. He's actually fighting for freedom. The freedom to have elections, to choose what life you want to lead and whom you want to live your life with. Go to school, go to university, study gender studies if you want. That's freedom. That's why people fight, bleed, and die. So they can live life with the basic infrastructure of democracy and civilization, so we can pursue happiness. What do Republicans know of that, though? That's threatening to them. Right, Junior? Tara Jr. is here. What are you doing? Tara Jr. is here. He's a good boy. All right, Junior. We hear you. Am I wrong here? Welfare queen. The right-wing Republicans slammed aid to Ukraine. And this is what we're going to have to deal with now. When Republicans, they're like, we're not giving a blank check to someone who's fighting. Why would we care about? This is the thing. Like, how can you explain to a bunch of traitors why we would care about Ukraine? Why we don't want this century's Hitler rolling in on someone else's sovereign territory? How do you explain that? You can't. It's like the same way you can't explain to Republicans why they, why you would wear a mask to save. Even though I don't need no mask, I don't have any whatever, I don't have any pre-existing conditions or whatever. I'm fine. I'll be fine if you know what I mean? You wear it so you don't get other people sick. You can't explain decency to I don't know. To lizards, you just can't explain. You can't. It's like explaining bonding to a lizard who doesn't have the part of the brain that secretes oxytocin. You know what I mean? They just can't. There's no way. You can't explain it. Marjorie Taylor Greene trashed Mitch McConnell as a turncoat who's pushing for aid to Ukraine. She said, so he can hand $47 billion to Zelensky. I mean, these blubbering idiots, these traitors, somebody like perjury traitor Greene, who on the third day she was sworn into office had to beg a con man for a pardon because she's a traitor. How do you explain to her why we want a democracy not to fall to autocracy? It's like the American people are raped every day at their hands. At the hands of their own elected leaders, perjury traitor Greene tweeted about aid to Ukraine. That's rape? Unfucking real. Idiots. Now, what's history going to say about these morons? In hindsight. They never come out looking good. That's the thing. Don't Republicans ever tire of looking like idiots in history's light? They don't. It's incredible. Anyway, and they think this is America. They look like morons, and they will. They are. They look like the morons they are. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I know, Junior. Enough is enough. Anyway, how much longer are we going to take it, everybody? Let me read this one last thing. It's late, getting late. Right, June? Right, June? What do you think, Tara Jr.? Look over here. You see what I gotta put up with? He bites me. Yes, honey. Isn't that soothing? Maybe we should just do this from now on. Just have a show. Hey, buddy. What happened? What happened there? You just knocked my camera. You knocked my camera into blackness. How'd you do that? Isn't this is why people like cat videos. Hey. I gotta start putting some cat videos up on the channel. I have many plans I have to do. I gotta update the Patreon page. I gotta start making some YouTube shorts. I gotta do some TikToks. I'm trying to figure that out. And I have to do a show with Robin. We're doing a Robin show. Robin Kincaid. And what else do I have to do? There's something else. Oh, I have to do tirades for Progressive Voices. These are all on the list. I have to... oh, yes, I said that. Update the Patreon page. I got a lot of shit to do, but I'm only me, and we gotta get more patrons up in this bitch. For this bitch. Okay, I saw this article, and I thought it was up my alley and up your alley, so I want to read it and comment on it. It's called A Warning for Today's Super Rich from Ancient Rome's Wealthiest Man by Peter Stotthard, Stotthard, former editor of the Times of let me see. Former editor of the Times of London and the Times Literary Supplement, is the author of Crassus, the First Tycoon. Okay, an ever more unequal society loses its links to democracy. And this is what we've been saying this whole time. And that's what the Democrats, they really need to listen to this show. And you should start sending them the links to the show. And maybe that's what I need to do on the friggin' YouTube shorts, you know? Just start doing, that's a good idea. I should write that down. Let me see. Just do some shorts that say that talk about how, or maybe I should do that in Progressive Voices tirade or something. What the talking points need to be. Let's see, Dem talking points. Or is it talking points or framing? You know? It's not really talking points. It's reclaiming patriotism and presenting democratic policies as a patriotic imperative. That's what it is. Reclaiming patriotic imperative. Okay. And that's what it is. Could be just like right here. What is written, what Peter Stothard writes, that excess wealth distorts. All right. Let's see. An ever more unequal society loses its link to democracy. Wealth is good, excess wealth distorts. These were the lessons of the last years of the Roman Republic. And they are still lessons today. All right, I gotta put him behind us here. All right, hold on a second. Everybody say your good nights to Tara, Junior. Junior, don't bite the camera. Why are you biting the camera? Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Get out of here. Ow! That hurt. Relax. Stop. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. All right. Let's begin again. Look at him. Little bastard. Uh-oh. No. I'm going to have to put him in the bedroom. You get over there. You stop. You be good. Okay. All right, let's start again. Oh, you motherfucker. Where the fuck are you? I feel like I'm being stalked by Jaws. An ever more unequal society loses its links to democracy. Wealth is good, excess wealth distorts. Those were the lessons of the last years of the Roman Republic. They are still lessons today. 7 years on from the con man's first presidential campaign, it's easy to forget that his populism came from the Latin textbooks. When Trump was riding high, he followed closely, likely not knowingly, the populists of ancient Rome. Trump was no Julius Caesar, except maybe in his dreams. But his electoral pitch did owe much to Caesar's uncle, Gaius Marius, Rome's first so-called man of the people, who won election after election, a record 7 consulships, by attacking the elitism of his enemies and vaunting his own trustworthiness to the poor and left behind. When Trump used his purported wealth to prove his selfishness in seeking office and attacking Hillary Clinton as the client of the plutocrats, these were tactics that both Marius and Caesar would have instantly recognized. In 2022, the Latin lesson continues. Early Rome prospered not because it was an egalitarian democracy, but because it was generally more equal, open, and democratic than its rivals. For instance, freeing slaves when the Greeks thought that was a step too far. But throughout the first century BCE, Rome's intermittent civil wars between the haves and the have-nots left one man eventually the wealthiest politician of his time, and maybe of all time. His name was Marcus Licinius Crassus. Like Trump, Crassus made his first fortune in property. And we've talked about him before. Redeveloping land taken from losers, building he would roll up when houses were on fire and say, I'll give you this property for a song, and then put the fire out. And, that's how he made his wealth. He went on to make a genuine massive fortune from mining and banking. He's best known today as the villain who crucified Kirk Douglas in Stanley Kubrick's film Spartacus. And that's true, he did hunt down Spartacus. But for all the gruesome theater of crosses along the Appian Way, winning a slave war was little more than a sideshow for Crassus. He had created himself a new kind of power. The permanent kind, the power to use money behind the scenes, pulling the strings of whichever puppet seemed to be in charge. He was the first tycoon. Even Caesar himself was Crassus's puppet at the beginning of his career. Crassus financed Caesar's election campaigns, making sure that at a stupendous cost that Caesar became Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest, the only man with a house in the Roman Forum. Once Crassus had helped Caesar to his military commands in Gaul, he watched his protege back in Rome bribing, money lendering, and making speeches and calling in favors in order to ensure, for a while at least, that Caesar became a useful counterweight to Crassus's lifetime rival, Pompey the Great. Caesar and Pompey both distorted the balance of Roman politics with vast wealth, one stolen, if critics were frank, from conquered kings in Rome's expanding empire. Crassus kept his place in this three-man oligarchy called the Three-Headed Monster, by continuing to use his financial power to balance the influence of his more acclaimed military partners. Senators wore black to show their objection to this change. Then this was called, if you remember your history, the first triumvirate. And that was it. The senators, they were powerless to do anything about the Roman Republic becoming an oligarchy. So they wore black. Oh, whoopee fucking doopy, right? That was it. That was their protest. So they wore black to show their objection to this change in the traditional checks and balances, but were powerless to do anything against it, against the dominance of the super rich. Gradually, Crassus came to see that wealth alone could not be enough to maintain his place at the three-legged top of the table of Rome. Caesar, rich from Gaul and protected by his loyal legions, didn't need Crassus's money anymore. And Pompey, after a triumph through the streets of Rome, parading golden statues of his own head in pearls, was probably for a time even richer than Crassus. So the man whose power rested on his reputation for wealth decided on a last campaign to keep himself up with Caesar and Pompey. He moved on to his rival's turf, trained personal legions, and he trained slaves for building sites and prepared to take on a neighbor in war. In 15 BCE, 53 BCE, 20 years after the Spartacus rebellion, his fellow oligarchs allowed their colleague to plan an invasion of Parthia. Well, we know how this ends up. A sprawling empire east of the Euphrates. But Crassus, for all his commercial and organizational skill, was ill-prepared. He was accountable only to Caesar and Pompey. And it was all about this rivalry. The traditional senatorial systems of diplomacy and intelligence had broken down before the power of money. Crassus knew very little about his Parthian adversaries, and like Trump's friend Vladimir Putin in Ukraine today, he thought he knew much more than he actually did. Crassus expected to face legionaries like his own, led by a deal-making pragmatist like himself. Instead, his army faced a swirling mass of archers on ponies, their quivers perpetually replenished by a camel train. A whole new weapon system. Trying to negotiate a retreat, he squabbled over a horse. His head was cut down on the sand, his mouth filled with molten gold to mark the greed that all the Parthians knew him for. That's what I hope is awaiting Trump. I mean, legally and peacefully. You know? You want gold, honey? Here, eat these NFT cards legally and peacefully. Back in Rome, the two remaining heads of the three-headed monster were soon at each other's throats. Caesar, on the side of the populace, defeated Pompey, leader of the establishment, and ruled briefly as dictator before his assassination on the Ides of March in 44 BC. His chosen heir, and you see where this is going. His chosen heir, Octavian, won the final civil war before establishing a system of one-man rule, supported by a frail, almost fake democratic institution which survived for centuries. And that's, I mean, the whole, and we've pointed this out many times on this show. That's why I call this the last days of the American Republic. There's so many similarities of this country. I mean, the only thing that actually gave me hope was the Republicans not completely winning in the midterms. I would feel a lot better if they didn't win the House, of course, but that was all because of gerrymandering and voter suppression, and that is the truth. They would not have won if not for their ability to rig their election. Well, not rig the election, but rig the electoral map. That's what we know this. They even know this. So that's the lesson they learned by not completely winning in the election. They need to rig the map even further. They need to disenfranchise people even further. And as far as, with Trump, what we really should fear is a more competent Trump, and the Republicans, well, because we've witnessed it. There are no, even Liz Cheney voted with Trump, 99% of the time, but there are no rational Republicans anymore. They're all the MAGA Republican Party. And there's really no low too low. So just as like we were saying earlier, the corporate media would run cover for a fascist, they would welcome a more competent version of Trump to put the nail in the Democratic coffin once and for all. Let me see. So Stephen on the chat says, A plus, Tara, you know your ancient Roman history well, which is a study that I made for many years. Good for you. Yeah, that's great. We're going the same way as Rome, unfortunately. Stephen agrees. It's true. We really are. The last days of the American Republic. I hope we've maybe, I don't know. We just have to wake up more people. We have to stir the Democratic Party into taking back. Well, I don't know. What do we have to do? Let's see. How can we stop this? The most frustrating part of the Democratic Party is they are also pawns of big money. Many of them. You know, the only thing about the Democratic Party, I am a registered Democrat, but I have hope in the Democratic Party because some of the Democrats are not taking corporate money. So because money in politics is what has poisoned the system almost beyond repair at this point. There has to be a reform. But because money in politics has wrecked the system, these Democrats are swimming in that filthy pool corroded by money. And some of the Democrats, like the members of the Progressive Caucus in particular, are not taking corporate money. That's the requirement for being in the for being in the Progressive Caucus. But then there are others who really don't, see anything wrong with what they're doing. And these are the Democrats who are living in the past, frankly. All right. Everybody's lauding Nancy Pelosi, and we'll see how history shakes out. But the fact is, Nancy, I don't completely hate her, of course, but I also don't appreciate that she's been in Congress the whole time. The American working class went from the middle class to the working poor. So, and she, I've played the clip before about how it drove me up a wall. Of that time, Nancy Pelosi was on Jimmy Kimmel saying that the For the People Act, she was pushing the Democratic Party's For the People Act, which would limit the influence of dark money. Limit it. Not get rid of it, not end it. And then the dumbass sheeple applauded in the audience. And when I saw that clip back in the day, I was like, we're doomed. We are friggin' doomed. Because if the people are applauding this shit, they don't even see that as a problem. The entire audience should have been, what are you talking about? Limit the influence of dark money. How about you get it out of politics altogether and be done with it already? Aren't we all tired of watching this country go into a complete oligarchy? And we talk about it before, about in ancient Rome, if we went back in time, after the Republic had fallen, and you talked to an average Roman citizen and asked them what kind of government they were living under, they would tell you a republic. They would tell you a republic during the time of Nero, during the time of all the emperors moving forward. Because they still had the trappings of democracy. They had elections. They had the veneer of democracy, or they thought, they were free. But it was beyond repair. It was corrupted beyond repair, and that's what we're witnessing. I mean, we see it in some people. They have this desire. They really are attracted to strong men rule, no matter what. We see it in the Republican Party. We've played clips on the show of Republicans. Who's that lady? Like, I remember early on. I never thought I'd want a dictator, but if we're gonna have one, I want it to be Trump. What kind of damage? How much damage has been done to someone who says, I want a dictator to be Trump? If we're gonna have a dictator, I never thought I would say this, but here it is. I actually found it.
Supposedly representing us in Washington.
Seriously, if you want to take it back, it's citizen involvement. You can take the trash out.
Oh, Lord. Never in my life did I think I would like to see a dictator. But if there's going to be one, I want it to be Trump.
And they're all applauding. And then, of course, we have...
You hate it. It's immoral, it's wrong, it's heinous, it's evil. But this is an evil country. And this country will surprise you with how evil it is. And that's why you got to get this out of your head that there is some silent majority cavalry that's going to come out of the woods and save us at the last minute. It's not. When we meet the left on the battlefield and they outnumber us like 5-1, that's it. People think we're going to start getting cut down, and then at the last minute they're going to blow the Volkish horn, and the silent majority is going to come running in from the flanks on horses, and they're just going to start cutting up. It's not going to happen because we are in the minority. There are not as many of us as there are of them. If they all had to vote, if you forced every man and woman in America to vote, there would be more of them than us by a lot. That's why they win the popular vote. That's why they win the House. That's why it is the way it is. And I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but there is simply no evidence that there is a silent majority. There is no evidence of this. There are too many non-white people in the country, frankly, for that to be the case. The country's 40% non-white, and like 80% of them are liberal, okay? And out of the white people, it's like 60-40.
We're listening to Nick Fuentes,
60%
by the way, the Nazi
that
Trump had dinner with.
You do the
for
math.
those who
I'm
are
done with the
listening
math.
on the
I tried it
podcast.
earlier, it didn't work. You do the math on that. There's not enough of us, okay?
No,
Now,
I know.
that's not
I've
a
been
total
telling
black
you.
pill
Good,
because
you're
this
a
isn't
minority.
democracy, and we don't want it to be.
Yeah, because
But-
you hate America.
So it's not the end. There are other ways, and I can elaborate on that later if people want me to, but that's a whole other discussion, really. But the point is, when you look at these things like abortion, it's popular. People like abortion. Hate it.
Oh,
but
I
it's
wish your
true.
mother liked
And
abortion.
you can thank the Jewish media for that.
Wow.
Abortion's popular.
That's who Trump had dinner
Sodomy's
with.
popular. You know, being gay
It's
is popular.
What do you
being
know?
Feminist is popular.
He's gay,
64.
by the way. He's definitely in the closet.
Sodomy's popular. You know, being gay is
You
popular.
should try it sometime.
Being a feminist is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Sex out of wedlock is popular.
Wow.
It's all popular. That's all.
Hate yourself, right? Hate your dirty, dirty sexual self. But we love families. We just hate sex. We hate ourselves. We want you to hate. We want you to hate yourself and hate others, and anybody who isn't in our club of hate, who doesn't hate themselves, anyone who breaks out of the self-loathing and starts living an authentic life, we'll hate them too. And yeah, we got a big club of fellow haters, and it's called fans of Nick Fuentes now. It's called America First. It's always been the same now. They've always been fascists. They've They changed, the monikers changed, but the ideology never changes.
That's not to say it's good. That's not to say I like that. Popular means the people support it, which they do. And it sucks, and it is what it is. But that's why we need dictatorship.
Right. That's the point I was trying to get to.
All that. We need to take control of the media or take control of the government and force the people to believe what we believe, or force them to play by our rules and reshape the society.
Where did we hear this before? Where'd that come from? I mean, where have we heard that before? That's that's Nick Fuentes, who Trump had dinner with. And, yeah, no biggie. He's still the Republican front runner, right? Here's another clip of Republicans praising dictators.
There we have him. There is the President of the United States, Donald Trump, about to walk down those stairs, stepping foot in Singapore as we await this historic summit with the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Anthony, talk to us about this moment. I mean, this is history. We are living, regardless of what happens.
Isn't this fun? For those who don't remember, this is when the con man was squatting in the White House despite receiving fewer votes, trading love letters with a dictator and with a tin pot dictator. And the Republicans were, their propaganda arm, the Der Stürmer of mainstream media, known as Fox News, were working overtime to sell this to everyone like a big fucking to-do when it was nothing short of pathetic. Because Trump he was Kim Jong-un's bitch, okay? He did nothing. He gave the American people gained nothing from him meeting with this little pissant dictator. He did nothing. There were no concessions. There's no disarming or whatever. They're still shooting off rockets. Little rocket man. He got nothing, but the little pissant dictator got to get a American president onto North Korean soil and got to take photos with an American so-called president. He got the propaganda coup for his people to show the people that he oppresses what a big man he is. See, look, the American president is coming to kiss my ass. The fact is, we got nothing for it. This is an embarrassment. This is like some bitch. Nobody likes a needy bitch. You understand? It's very unattractive. And that's what Trump is. He's like, oh, love me. Please love me. And this is why the Republicans are unfit. They're unfit to lead a drunken conga line, much less a modern nation. Because Trump is pantomiming the president, right? He must have seen footage, Nixon in China. Must have seen newsreels of what happens. He chose this little pissant dictator to pantomime some kind of great meeting or summit with, when because he's such a loser, he doesn't realize that, no, we don't do that. We're America. We don't need to go meet with Kim Jong-un, this tyrant, this little disgusting anti-humane tyrant. Why would we do that? It's like, why would we have a military parade? That's the other thing remember Trump wanted a military parade? It's so degrading. Why would you want that? Because, they did it in France. He wants to show off all the weapons and, he wants all the soldiers to march for him because he's sick. He's a sick little bitch who doesn't understand that that's actually a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. The strong don't have to flex their muscles. The strong don't have to respond to every seeming slight. The strong just keep it moving, bitch. The eagles don't concern themselves with what the maggots are doing, do they? You don't have to respond to every little slight from every unfit tin pot dictator. You just keep it moving. You don't have to say, my rocket's bigger than yours. It's like, but Republicans don't seem to understand this because they are fundamentally unfit and they are children, like man-child Musk. When an expert in cave diving says, no, thank you, your little fake submarine, your tiny sub ain't gonna work in a cave. In an underwater cave, bitch, because it's not flexible. You can't go around corners. It can't bend. That's what it's just not. It's not there. Keep working on it, good little boy. Thanks. Then you don't come a man who's strong and knows that they know what they're doing. Doesn't come running out going, you're a pedo. I mean, it's so embarrassing. That's the other thing. What kind of behavior are they modeling for young people? Ugh. They're setting up other generations that will have to deal with a bunch of infants constantly. But here, the reason I'm playing this is because the Fox News mouthpiece lets it slip and calls Trump a dictator, says this is really a meeting between dictators. Here we go.
In that meeting between the two dictators, what we are seeing right now, this is history. In that meeting between the two dictators, 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 what
in that meeting between the two dictators
we're seeing right now, this is history.
This is history, assholes who watch Fox News. All of you Fox News victims out there, this is really history what you're seeing here. The meeting of the dictators. God, see, they're confused. Oh, I forgot. This is still a democracy. I forgot. Well, still the veneer. Here's another thing from around the same time. There's all these memes from the old website that's now defunct.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I would have him. Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah.
You see this, and you see the way the Fox News asshole is fawning over Trump. You think we're gonna see Mr. Kim here? Is Mr. Kim coming to the White House? Ain't that gonna be fun? That's gonna be great. What a historic event to have this mealy-mouthed, fragile thing, this dictator who with concentration camps and, have more concentration camps than electricity. So isn't that going to be great to have this disgrace, this human rights violator here? This one who starves his own. I mean, the people. We talked about it when the North Korean the defector, ran across the what is that? Is it the demilitarized zone? There was a North Korean soldier recently, in the last couple of years, ran across the demilitarized zone and defected. He just ran for it. And the North Korean soldiers shot at him and hit him. They shot him, and he was laying there almost dead. And the South Koreans were able to extract him. It took hours to get him out. Like, they had to sneak in and get him. And they took him right into surgery to try to save his life. And they did save his life. But while they opened him up, the doctors were pulling out worms, giant tapeworms. You know, because that's your pal. That's what Republican, and well, that really is, guys, what Republican leadership, what Republican governance looks like. A bunch of tapeworms in somebody who's running for their lives to get to civilization. You know, because regulations. Who needs those stinking regulations in North Korea? Right? And that's what Republicans want here. Who needs regulations telling you can't have parasites and shit in your food? That's why everybody in North Korea has tapeworms and all kinds of parasites that human beings used to live with. It was just a fact of life forever until the last whatever, not until recent history, because we started to understand the value of, we understood germs and regulations and how cleanliness and standards. Republicans don't want that shit getting in the way of business. You gotta spend a minute washing your pots and pans before you throw some meat in it. Well, that might take away some profit. Whoops! Oh my God! Ah! I dropped my bottle. My baba. This is just a water bottle with some Diet Dr. Pepper in it. And okay, here. Let's listen to what the con man says. And back, remember this? We're just going down memory lane for a second. I guess it's the end of the year. Why not?
Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean he is the strong head. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well.
Oh my God! You see what I'm saying? Because they're tiny little babies who don't they don't have the strength to function in a democracy. They're weak. Wow. You see what I mean? They envy that. They envy Putin. They envy Kim Jong-un. I want my people to do the same. Oh, this is the Trump's response to Khashoggi being murdered.
We're all going to get to see the response that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia takes with this. When we see that, we'll get a chance to determine, all of us, we'll get a chance to make a determination with respect to the credibility and the work that went into that. Whether it's truly accurate, fair, transparent in the very way that they made a personal commitment to me, and the Crown Prince also made a personal commitment to the President when he spoke to him.
And nothing happened, of course.
Saying Mussolini.
Except that Trump tweeted out, "Hey, Saudis are great, aren't they? They got a lot of money or something. I mean, that's all because all that matters. I got a lot of money from them. They gave us a lot of money. That's all that matters. That's why Republicans were like, oh, that's cool. Trump sold those NFTs. They all sold out. They weren't embarrassed anymore. They were like, oh wow, they sold out. Not who knows who bought them, but oh, it's not as embarrassing now because they were sold out. Everybody, it's great then. No harm, no foul. It doesn't matter. He sold them. Doesn't matter how much he disgraced the office and how much of an international embarrassment he is. And here, well, this is a montage of Trump praising dictators.
Sometimes the people that you most distrust turn out to be the most honorable ones. And it's my honor
to meet Kim Jong-un.
It's an honor to be with you. Very great honor. Thank you. He was really very gracious. We have developed a very special bond.
Special. Saddam Hussein.
We shouldn't have destabilized Saddam Hussein.
The world would be better off with Saddam Hussein.
100%. He was really good at killing terrorists. He didn't wait around. You know what he did well? He killed terrorists. He did that so good.
So good.
Had a call with President Putin and congratulated him on the victory, his electoral victory.
His sham electoral victory.
Likes Donald Trump. Guess what, folks? That's called an asset, not a liability. Putin has much better leadership qualities than Obama.
He can call me
brilliant. Isn't that nice? I'm hearing things like, oh, isn't it terrible that Putin is saying that? That's not terrible. That's good. That's like a good thing, not a bad thing.
Oh, my God. It's unbearable that we had to deal with this.
You retweeted somebody from Il Duce 2016. It was a Mussolini quote.
Look, Mussolini was Mussolini. What difference does it make whether it's Mussolini or somebody else?
What difference? What difference does it make? Whether it's a brutal dictator who hates democracy and helped plunge the world into a world war that killed 65 million human beings? Who cares? What difference does it make? Fucking unreal. Where do we live? All right. I can't believe how late it is. Wow. Guys. Guess what? Let's see. We're having a show on Friday. Right. Save you from what? Healthcare? Terry Taylor? Exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing. Oh, my God. I was talking to my sister the other day. You know, she's got issues. And about... She thinks she's a Republican, I think. You know, I almost hate getting into it with her. Because I don't want to get into an argument. And it's painful to me. But... I was saying something about, you know, healthcare in America, how disgusting it is, and what a disgrace it is, and all, you know, how I wish we had universal healthcare because I'm sick of dealing with it. And she goes, yeah, but, you know, then you go to other countries and they're all, you gotta wait and shit. That's such a bullshit. You don't. I said to her, give me a break. That's the line that only proves that the for-profit healthcare industry has very good marketing and they've bought a lot of politicians with the money they get by denying Americans healthcare. That's how they get, rich, by denying care. I said, any other country, if they try to take away their universal health care, there would be fucking riots in the streets. If they try to say, oh, we're going to give you what the Americans have. We're dumb as shit here. I said, we have great health. You have great everything if you're rich in the United States. But this is the only country where you got to go on fucking GoFundMe. If you actually get sick, and then come back to me and tell me how much you love the greatest. It's not about the health care. It's about the insurance. People want health care. They don't give a shit about insurance. No other country. The co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles, in-network, out-of-network, all of that is designed to deny you care, to make a few people rich. And then they'll use the marketing of not just, well, they buy the politicians, they deny care, by denying your claims and causing you. The other thing that annoys me, actually, when I'm thinking about it now, that the fact that we even have co-pays and deductibles and shit like that, that was designed by right-wingers, by conservatives. They had especially with Medicaid and Medicare, they wanted you to have what they call it, skin in the game. Okay? Skin in the game. So if you're not paying, that's a conservative bullshit frame. They push this all the time, that if people aren't paying, they're gonna abuse the system. You see, they're just gonna go. They're gonna go all the time. If they have a cough, I'm going to the doctor. Why the fuck not, though? If you gotta go, if you're sick, you go. And if you're somebody that is a hypochondriac, then that's a whole other issue. So you should be going to the doctor, so then your doctor can refer you to a psychiatrist. That's a whole other issue. But you got to have skin in the game. Who doesn't have skin in the game? You're talking about your own goddamn health as if you're nothing but that's the way it is. You are nothing. You're like nothing but a fucking moron. And then you have people like my sister. But, we, in other countries, and I was like, I don't want to hear this bullshit in other countries. Oh, because every system has issues, okay? If you ask any country, it's universal health care, they have issues. Anything involving human beings has issues. But no country has the worst system. The United States has the measurably worst health care in all of every Western democracy. And that's what I said to her. We have the worst health care, the worst outcomes. We have the measurably worst health care. It constantly ranks dead last in all positive measures. Not only that, it bankrupts millions. It kills thousands needlessly, meaning they don't go to the doctor because they can't afford it, and they needlessly fucking die when they have something that they could have lived, something treatable. So they kills 65,000 now a year, bankrupts millions every year, and leaves 85 million Americans out. Ranks dead last in all positive measures. And but it makes a few people rich at the top. It makes like a handful of executives very rich. So that's the point of the healthcare. You go on the stock exchange and you can buy fucking stock in it. So that's the point of American healthcare. It's not to get you well. It's to make some stockholders rich and the executives and the CEO especially. And when they leave, they get golden parachutes like Bill McGuire, famously United Healthcare CEO, left with a $1.6 billion golden parachute. $1.6 billion. Back when $1 billion actually meant something. Isn't that disgusting? Yes, and that's another thing. This is the problem. It's about why we're so divided? Why? I wonder why. It's because of things like that. So we're supposed to walk around in this country where I'm an American. What the fuck does that mean? That we, what? What does it mean? We leave you behind. We leave everybody behind. I got mine, Jack. Sucks to be you. Nobody's, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about, we're so divided. We're so divided. We'll stop dividing us. Why don't you start, and Democrats, I'm talking to you. This is part of taking back patriotism. Universal health care is not just moral, right, fair, more cost-effective, but it's also a patriotic imperative. Right. It's unreal. Right. It's like every month. Right. Haiku on the chat. $20 million Christmas bonuses, but man, my $256 premium takes literally any money I would have left in any given month. Every fucking month. Exactly. But if we, but then your taxes go up. Well, good. Take it out of my taxes. Because now I pay a 35% rate, which ain't that much more than or less than they pay in other countries who have universal health care. And I'm bled. And I'm afraid to get sick. And God forbid if you get sick. Now, what I got to do? When the doctor's sitting there giving you bad news and you're like, shit, I got to get my camera out, and now I got to get my friend who's really good at cinematography and editing to put this video of me together, asking for donations, and they have to follow me. I got to hire a whole camera crew so I can come up with a very heart-wrenching GoFundMe campaign and hope that it breaks through the other GoFundMe campaigns, which you know that most GoFundMe campaigns are not successful. And, I can't even get on this because it's too late. And then Republican health care plan die quickly. And that's the other thing. It's like so stupid for, we know the whole, you get insurance through your job bullshit was an accident, you know. So now this is our system. And Obamacare tried to stop that, so you can just get insurance, but you had to pay. And then Republicans made it so it wouldn't be cheap because they eliminated the mandate. So, you know, some people, and then they eliminated the penalty if you didn't, right? Because the penalty was supposed to be, well, if you don't want to pay into it, then you're going to have to pay out of your taxes something, so the prices are lower for everybody. But no, Republicans fuck that up too, because they want you to die. You understand? They don't. And if Americans aren't needlessly dying, they aren't happy. That's it. We have to get to the point where we admit this. You know, the first step in healing and getting better and getting help is admitting there is a problem. Republicans are not happy unless Americans are needlessly dying. Everything about their policies cause Americans to needlessly die. Premature death. To send Americans to their cold, early graves. No matter what. They want, like, for example, I just saw another tweet from that fucking Nazi Ron DeSantis, where he's like, where is it? He said about because some health, right, even here in New York, the health, well, Eric Adams, the mayor, and other health professionals are urging, specifically, because I live here in New York, they're urging New Yorkers to to wear your mask again, right? because there's the triple demic is happening. So DeSantis mask, right? And also there's no more mandates to get vaccinated and all that. And so a lot of people aren't getting vaccinated. A lot of people aren't getting boosted. And people are getting sick again. And then the hospitals are filling up. So other people, politicians are urging Americans to put their fucking stupid piece of cloth across their face. Do the minimum. Just the minimum. Maybe not kill somebody. And what did this piece of wasted DNA tweet? He tweeted, let's see, DeSantis. I'm trying to find exactly what he said. I'm sorry. I can't find it. I might have to paraphrase it. I think he said... Oh, yeah, here it is. I'm sorry. He said, in Florida, if you're still wearing a mask, we'll just assume you're hideous. Ha 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 ha. Isn't that funny, everybody? We'll just assume you're hideous. This was yesterday. He tweeted this. So I guess we can say, if you're a Republican... At this point, we'll assume you're a hideous human being. You're morally hideous. You're ethically hideous. Well, it still works. Although all hideous people aren't Republicans. Wait, no, that's not how it goes. Though all Republicans aren't hideous people on the inside, all hideous people on the inside are Republicans. So if you are hideous on the inside, we will just assume you are Republican, and we will be right. So what skin off your goddamn balls is it if somebody's wearing a mask? You fucking monster. And the death rate in Florida from COVID is still abhorrent. So you got to say, that's why when I saw that yesterday, I thought it's exactly what I say all the time. Republicans aren't happy unless Americans are needlessly dying. Why would you spread that bullshit? Why would you turn where the simplest little behavior you can engage in that doesn't harm anybody? It actually helps. It's not a really big fucking deal. Nobody's asking you to storm the beaches of Normandy. I know you wouldn't do that either because you hate America. You hate democracy. You love fascism. If this were the 70, 80 years ago, 85 years ago, you would be cheering Hitler on. We know that. So, we're just saying, try not to kill as many people as you're killing. Do your part. That's why I'm telling you guys, this is why we need universal health care. It's a patriotic imperative. It is. Enough of this I got mine, that you don't that it's your health, your problem. Fuck you. We're living on this soil at the same time, in this country, sharing the same air. It's part of the infrastructure of democracy. It's a patriotic imperative, just like taxing the rich. If we don't tax the rich and we don't limit intergenerational aristocracy, we will not have a democracy. We will not be free. So enough. We need to promote our policies like as they are patriotic imperatives. They're not just nice. They're not just more cost effective, or they're not just woke. They're patriotic imperatives. We don't leave anybody behind. You know, enough is enough. I'm tired of them splitting us up, dividing us, turning us into, I got mine. If someone doesn't have health care in this country, we should all be upset by that. That's a reflection on all of us. If people are on the street, if someone can't go to the doctor because they can't afford to go and they're sick, this is a disgrace. It's a fucking disgrace. We have human beings in their cold early graves that ran into machine gun fire. You know, supposedly to save, this country, the general welfare, from being absorbed by a bunch of fascist, selfish pricks. So how do you honor that? That sacrifice? You honor it by going, we'll just assume you're hideous. You honor it by mocking people who give a shit about other Americans, that maybe they're not sick, maybe they're young, maybe they're not worried because they have a great immune system. Oh my God, I'm remembering Trump. Remember this, and then we'll gotta get out of here. I'm trying to find this clip. Why? You see why? This is why I'm miserable half the time. Because all of these Trump clips are flying around my brain. I'm trying to find the clip of Trump where he's like, hats off to the immune system. Where he's like, we have the youth have a great immune system. Isn't it embarrassing to be an American? Hats off to the immune system. I can't find it. Ugh, shit. That's so disappointing. I wonder what I called it. I know I had it. Hats off. Hats off to the immune system, everyone. They have... Oh, because he was saying that the young people, if you're young, you don't have to worry because you have a great immune system. Come on, everyone. Hats off to the immune system. Where? What? Is this real life? Is this real? I gotta pinch myself. All right. We gotta go. Anyway, all right. We'll be back on Friday. I have to tell you guys, it's probably late. I should do these plugs earlier. It's already midnight. We've been on the air for 3 hours, and it's okay. Everybody should share the show with their friends and become a patron if you can. But my birthday, we're doing a show on the 27th, which is my birthday. So it will be my birthday show, and it will be a birthday show. Getting the old gang back together. Mike Malloy and Robin Kincaid will be calling in to Tarabuster. And that's gonna be the party. We're getting the band back together. And also, during the week, I will be filling in with Robin Kincaid for Mike while he takes a few days off to go visit the fam. That's next week. I'll be filling in on the Mike Malloy show. with Robin Kincaid. Thank God. But it'll be fun on Tuesday night, so tell your friends. But I'll talk about it again on Friday. So, and then we'll have Christmas, and then we will get back together a couple of days later. But hats off to the immune system, everybody. All right, guys. Listen. I will see you here on Friday. But remember, if you can, tell your friends to watch the show, to listen to the show, and give the show a good review on iTunes. That helps. You know, we need a lot of good reviews. Right, Junior? I dropped it. What? Say something, Junior. Hats off to Tara Jr.'s immune system. Oh, shit. Why can't this fucking thing just stay up? All right. Hats off to the immune system. And remember, if you can, become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Give the show a good review on iTunes. Share the show with your friends. Check out APS Radio News to support Tarabuster sponsors. And remember, the last thing, the most important thing I can say is we will win. That's right. What? Say it again. We will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. My name is Tara Devlin. This is Tara Jr. And I will see you all, on Friday night.